today to talk to you about something I'm absolutely passionate about, which is health and well-being. And my favourite health and well-being company is Young Living Essential Oils. I got started with Young Living when I was pregnant with my 8-year-old. I was looking for natural alternatives to have with me during the birth of my baby. And then when my girls started to get older, they were toddlers, you know, everything in my house I wanted to swap over to a more natural alternative, and essential oils just seemed to be the answer. For the first few years I just used the products and absolutely loved them, and then one day Tegan, the youngest of my 2 girls, came home from school and I'd been at work all day. I couldn't get out of work. I was busy. As a single mum, I had to work, and she said to me, "Mummy, you were the only mummy who wasn't at the cross country today." And it made me sad, and it pulled at my heartstrings, and I thought, you know what, there's got to be a better way for mums to be able to spend more time with their kids and actually be able to go to the cross country, the athletics carnival, to work at canteen, to do reading, all of those things that my mum did. And that's how I got started with this amazing company. So today I'm going to give you just a brief overview of who we are, what we are, and how you can use some of our oils from our premium starter kit. So this is our product guide. I'm just going to flick through it and talk a little bit about some of the information that's in it. So on the very first page is actually a letter from the founder of our company, Gary and Mary Young. Gary got started with essential oils because he had his own issues. He had an accident, and as a result he looked into a whole range of different natural therapies, and one of those was essential oils. He went over to France and studied and learnt distillation methods, and went back to America and basically planted a lavender farm, and pretty well that's how he got started. What I love about the company is that he's the farmer and the cowboy, and he makes all the blends, and his wife Mary actually does the business, and to me that's pretty well sums up my philosophy. She's the business person behind the company, and I love that it's run by a woman. So on the second page we've actually got our purpose. Our purpose is basically wellness, purpose and abundance. So not only are we about giving families wellness, but it's about purpose. What I love about this company is that they have a foundation where they go to other countries around the world, like Nepal, and they've got a whole heap of programs in Uganda at the moment where they're doing things, making shoes for kids that have got triggers in there. Triggers are these tiny little insecty, wormy things that get in the kids' feet because they don't wear any shoes in the mud and all of that. And that, that whole purpose of the company to give back, and I guess that leads to the vision of the company, which is to get essential oils, Young Living essential oils, into every home around the world. And that's not every home that can afford it, or that are middle class or anything like that. He actually means every home. And how can we do that? And that's the mission, is to give people alternatives for wellness. And then lastly, it's the abundance. So that's not just an abundance financially, but that's an abundance in all aspects. So, like an abundance of health, an abundance of family. And I'm actually sitting here making this video today in Kuala Lumpur in this very prestigious hotel. And I think that really exemplifies what the company, gives back to their, their oily family, if you like. So on the next page, it talks about our seed to seal difference, and this is what sets our company apart. Everyone says to me, why wouldn't I just go down the health food shop and buy the oils? And I say, well, it's because, like everything, there's the Kia Sportage version and there's the Rolls-Royce version. I actually want my oils to do what I want. I want them to work. I want them to do what they say they're going to do, and that comes down to the seed to seal difference. So I'm lucky enough to have actually experienced the seed to seal difference firsthand. I've been to the farms and I've planted the seeds. I've actually, when we go to some of the farms all around the world, they collect the seeds from the best plants, so that they make sure that the plants that are grown next year are also the best possible quality that they can have, and that they're going to give the best healing and you know, emotional support and all of the things that we use oils for, that those seeds are exactly the right seeds. You've all been to Bunnings and, you know, seen that there's like, you know, 50 different types of lavender that you can get. But if I want to calm my kids down at the end of the day, you know, it's a particular kind of lavender that you need to have that right effect. So this is our lavender. It's always the first oil that I hand around at workshops, because I really believe that it's what, you know, when people smell our lavender, they can tell the difference. It's just one of those oils that lots of people say to me, oh, you know, you either love or hate lavender, but usually when people smell our lavender, they can tell the difference. It's so much stronger. When I pass around oils, I usually explain to people that some things that they don't know, and one of them is that oil never actually comes out of that hole there in the middle, the big hole. So when I see people, you know, making up their own scrubs or whatever, and they're going like this and putting it straight up and down, what they're in essence doing is they're blocking off what's the air hole. So I don't know whether you've ever had a big container of water and you've actually had to put a second hole in it so that it runs out the tap faster. Well, the same is true with a bottle of oil. That hole in the middle is actually the air hole. So it's allowing the air to get in to push the oils out. The oil comes out of tiny, tiny little holes around the outside of that hole. So when you are dripping oil out, if you want to, you know, put oil in your moisturizers or anything that you're making, it's best to hold it on a 45-degree angle. And if it's not coming out, just twist it a little bit in your hand, and because it might mean that the tiny little holes that it's coming out of, there may not be one at the bottom. So if you just twist it a little bit, it might mean that it comes out a lot easier. Some of the oils are really thin and will run out quite quickly. Others are quite thick, and so you might need to warm them up in your hands a little bit, particularly rose, sandalwood, those kind of oils, myrrh. You want to warm them up a little bit before you actually tip them out. So, you know, I don't know whether anyone's already ever used lavender, but the kinds of things that I use lavender for, it's great for skin, great for any kind of skin. I add it to my moisturizers. I put it in the bath. I, you know, add it to a bit of magnesium or bicarb, anything like that, and put it in the bathtub. Oils and water don't mix, so when I put oils in the bath, I never actually just drop the oils straight in. I put the bicarb and things in the bath first, then fill it up so that the oil goes throughout the whole bath water. Before I read my girls a story at night, I'll fill up the diffuser. Today we've got a little orb diffuser because we're traveling, but normally in my girls' room they have a dewdrop diffuser. And I fill that up, put a few drops of lavender oil in it, or Stress Away. Today we've actually got Stress Away because it's, you know, mum's best friend. And it's quite, you know, relaxing at the end of the day. So while I'm reading the story, they're breathing that in, and it just really grounds them, brings them down. And, you know, it's probably one of their favourite oils is lavender. So that's, I guess, one of the oils in our premium starter kit. So the next step in the seed to seal process is around cultivation. What I love about Young Living is that because they're so transparent, you can go and you can see this whole process. You can let anyone, you don't even have to be buying the oils or anything, you can go and you can see the process. And with the cultivation, you can actually go and help participate in the harvesting, in the weeding, in all the different aspects because there's basically there is no chemicals used, toxic chemicals used on any of the plants. And I love that you get first-hand experience so that, you know, when you're actually using the oil, you know that there's nothing being put into that bottle that shouldn't be in there. There's nothing being sprayed on the plants that are then distilled, and you're getting the residue of those chemicals. So distillation is actually the next step in the process. What they basically do, a lot of our oils, essential oils, are what we call steam distilled. They put them in a big cooker and they cook up the plant material, so the lavender flowers or the peppermint oil or whatever, they cook up all the plant matter. The steam rises, it then goes through what we call a refrigerated coil, and it's similar to what's on the back of your fridge, and it cools the oil down, and then the water and the oil separate. And if you're lucky enough to go to the St. Marie's farm in Idaho and do some work, where I helped harvest lavender one time, at the end of the day, you know, like we're there, like with the secretaries cutting all the lavender flowers, and, you know, they really, you know, you work hard on these farms. It's not just like, you know, turn up and swan around. At the end of the day, they reward you by actually letting you swim in the floral water. So they you know, they pump off, they basically scoop off the oil at the top, and the water goes into the spa baths, and you get to swim around in it at the end of the day. So it's an absolutely amazing experience. So that's steam distillation. We also have oils that are cold pressed, and one of those oils is actually lemon oil. So a lot of our citrus oils are cold pressed. Literally, if you've got some rind of a lemon and squeezed it, you'll see little oil bubbles come out. That's how they get the oil. So basically there's nothing in this bottle other than the oil that you yourself can squeeze out of a lemon rind or orange or anything like that. So the amazing thing about our oils is that they can actually be, well, some of them can be used in cooking. So I use the lemon oil, I add a drop to my water, or I might use it in lemon icing or something like that. And so that's our lemon oil. It's another great one for adding to the diffuser, particularly if you're new to oils. If you're new to oils, I tend to say start with 1 to 2 drops in your diffuser, particularly if hubby's a little bit, you know, anti anything new, because lemon oil is something that a lot of people, they like the smell of lemons. They're used to the smell of lemons. It's not something that they consider girly or hippie or alternate. So 1 to 2 drops in the diffuser. I tend to diffuse this at work because no one's ever said to me, oh, I don't like the smell of lemon. It's fresh. It's why they put it in a lot of your cleaning products and things like that. Lemon oil is great for cleaning. If you want to add it to some vinegar or add it to your Thieves cleaner that I'm going to talk about in a little minute. It's great. I use it on sticky things. So when I've got, like, you know, when I was renovating my bathroom, I put some sticky sort of, I can't think what it's called, but like masking tape on the windows, and there was a residual effect from the stickiness, and I used the lemon oil to get rid of that. Caitlin got some red plasticine. She's got the most beautiful blonde hair, and she had this red plasticine in her hair. And so I literally poured this on and combed it out, and, you know, nothing else was getting rid of the plasticine. I've used it on blue tack, all different kinds of things. So that's the lemon oil. Okay, the next thing is testing. So Young Living doesn't only do their own testing. I have seen them use the, I always get this around the wrong way, but I think it's gas mass spectrometer, GMS, and I've seen them do the testing on the farms. But not only do they do the testing themselves, they actually send it away for independent testing, so that you know that every single bottle of essential oil is exactly what it says on it. The botanical name, the species, the right amount of constituents. A few years ago, Gary distilled a whole heap of peppermint oil, and when they tested it, it didn't have the right amount of constituents in it. So he actually then sold it, and they sell it to brokers, and other companies buy it. So it's kind of like the fish that John West rejects in a way. Like lavender oil, it has a certain number of constituents. It needs to be distilled for the right amount of time. We have a couple of companies in Australia who sell lavender oil, and they actually, you know, their sort of like their marketing campaign is around, we distill lavender oil faster than any other company. But the thing is, the bulk of the constituents in lavender oil, yes, the smell ones cross over and are released by the plant and go up in the steam quite early in the distillation process, within the 15 minutes that these other companies distill their lavender oil for. Whereas our company distills their lavender oil for close to 2 hours, because that's when, you know, those residual constituents are released from the plants. And we want our oil to be as close to the plant, so it's really holistic, rather than, we don't want it just for smell. We want the healing benefits and, you know, to give us the emotional support and release and all the reasons why we use oils. And the last thing is seal. So if people say to me, how do I use an essential oil? I say, best way to learn how to use an essential oil is actually read the label on the bottle. And most of the bottles, you know, have all the bottles have instructions for use, but most of them also have this beautiful little thing down here that says peel here. And if you peel it back, sorry, my nails aren't working that well today. There's actually more instructions behind there. So, you know, if you want to know how to use oils, you actually just peel the label back, and it'll tell you all that you need to know. And on every single, the reason why I was telling you that, as far as the seal goes, on every single one of our bottles, it actually contains a batch number. So we're able to trace it back and see, you know, which batch of lavender oil that came from. So if there's ever any problems, we know which batch of lavender oil it came from, or which batch of, you know, frankincense or whatever. So that's our seed to seal difference. That's really what sets us apart, and you can go and experience any of that for yourselves at any of our farms. So next there's some pictures of our farms. As I said, I've been lucky enough to go to the St. Marie's one in Idaho in America, and that's where I got to swim. The picture is actually of a melissa field, and that was the floral water that we got to swim in on the day that I was there. There's a farm in Croatia. Many companies talk about wildcrafting. The thing about wildcrafting means that they literally go out into the wild and collect the plant matter. The thing is, these days, there's over harvesting of a lot of our essential, like a lot of the plants that create our essential oils, rosewood, sandalwood, these species are nearly extinct. And one of the species that was also nearly extinct was helichrysum. And that was because it grows on cliffs and it's really hard to harvest. The flowers are quite little, you need a lot of them to go into the oil. And what was happening was people in these countries that are quite poor were going out and literally, over harvesting the plant material to this point where it was nearly becoming extinct. So what Gary decided to do was to create his own farm of helichrysum, and it grows in particularly rocky soil, so he literally had to get the rocks to be exactly right to be able to grow the helichrysum. So if you ever get to Croatia, I'd encourage you to go and visit the farm there. It's quite an experience. In July, I was lucky enough to go to the farm in France, Simon-la-Rotonde, which is absolutely beautiful French lavender farm with the castle in the background and all of that kind of stuff. The next few pages are farms, once again, in Oman and Ecuador, and the beautiful lavender farm in the USA, which is one of the biggest lavender farms in the world. It's quite amazing to be able to see the lavender growing there from the aerial view. In Australia, we actually have just recently signed an agreement with a sandalwood farm in Western Australia, and that oil will soon be coming online. I mentioned before that sandalwood is one of those oils that has been over-harvested in the wild. So in Australia, they've actually started growing sandalwood oil and harvesting it. And so that's the agreement that they've got. They've also got an agreement with a blue cypress plantation in Darwin. And I've been lucky enough to go up there and have a look at how their whole process works. And Vince, the owner, is quite an amazing guy, and he's very, very knowledgeable on all things to do with blue cypress oil. So what are essential oils? Essential oils are basically the lifeblood of plants. So if you ever pick a leaf off a plant and you'll see the sap form over and things like that, it's the role of essential oils is to provide that support and well-being for our bodies, just like they do in the plants. So they come from things like seeds, flowers, leaves, bark, some oils like copaiba. This is copaiba. It's actually tapped directly from the tree. So they drill a hole into the tree and it runs out, similar to maple syrup in a way. Copaiba is an amazing oil. I add it to all my blends whenever I'm making up anything, because it's the amplifier, it's the magnifier. It basically improves and increases the effect of all the other oils. So it's an amazing oil. It doesn't really have a smell, it's quite earthy. So it's kind of great for guys because, they're not necessarily into the floral lavenders and things like that. So it's a really, really great oil. So it's, as I say, it's what we call a copal, which basically means a resin that's tapped straight from the tree. Another oil that's sort of tapped from the tree is frankincense. So what happens with frankincense is that it's grown on the Arabian Peninsula, and like the Somali or Oman kind of areas. And what they do is they do a couple of cuts into the tree. So the first cut usually releases the oil, and it tends to have a lot of impurities in it because it's close to the surface. So, obviously the trees take in pollutants, just like, even though, there's not many pollutants in that area of the world, but obviously just from planes flying over and whatever. So then they do a second cut, which a lot of oil companies will sell the second cut of the frankincense resin, but it's the third cut that, where you start to get the more pure oil. So what happens is when the sap runs out of the tree, it forms little crystals like resin, and they actually distill that, and that's where we get our frankincense oil. So frankincense oil has been around, since for thousands of years. It was even Cleopatra used to use frankincense they used to burn the resin, and the black coal that you see on her eyes in pictures, that's actually frankincense. They used to even put frankincense, the crystals, in their hair, because obviously walking around in the desert, it was quite hot, and they didn't have showers, they didn't have access to water, and they weren't, they get quite smelly. So the resin would actually melt and release the smell, and that's what they would use for perfume. So frankincense is another oil that I add to all of my skin stuff. It's women's best friend, I put it in my moisturizer, I put it around my eyes. We all don't want to really look our age. So if that's you, then frankincense is your best friend. It's also really great for meditation, anything spiritual. So I put it on before I go to yoga. I'm literally taking a drop. Oh, 2. I must need a lot of spiritual support today. Rub it around 3 times just to energize it. And then just breathe it in. Oh, it's a really, really uplifting oil. And then, a bit on the face and the skin. And so that's frankincense. All right, Young Living sells a whole range of different products that the oils are in. There isn't a product that Young Living sells that doesn't contain the oil. Oh, well, actually that's not true, because the goji berries, the wolf berries by themselves probably don't. But the rest of all our cleaning products, our skincare, everything is enhanced with essential oils. So let's find out how we can use essential oils. The first one is aromatically, which literally just means breathing them in. So exactly what I just did, where I cupped my hands over my nose and breathed it in. That's the simplest way. So just smelling it out of the bottle. When we smell oils out of the bottle, so I might do peppermint. Peppermint is so strong because all of the aroma just literally bursts out of the bottle. So you don't need to, stick it right up to your nose, and there's nothing worse than having a drop of peppermint or a drop of oregano on the end of your nose for the whole day. So I just usually, just move it around a bit so that you're letting the oil come out of the bottle and you can smell it. Usually when I open a bottle of peppermint, you can smell it a fair way away. So, it's not something that you need to get right up close to use. So that's peppermint. The other way aromatically that we use oils is to put them in a diffuser. So to actually put them in something like this little orb diffuser, or the dewdrop diffuser that comes with our premium starter kits, or the Aroma Luxe, or the Aria diffuser, any of those kinds of diffusers. The next way that we use oils is topically. Topically literally just means put it on your skin. So whether you use it in massage, whether you put it in your moisturizers, and depending on what I'm using it for, depends on whether I put it straight onto my skin or whether I'm actually mixing it with a carrier oil. One of the great oils that I use topically is an oil called Purification. I do put it in my diffuser, but I love Purification mixed with a bit of coconut oil or some witch hazel. I make what I call the Great Outdoors spray. So for anybody in Australia, in summertime, the Great Outdoors spray is an awesome mix that you can make up. You literally get a glass spray bottle, fill it with distilled water, some witch hazel. The reason why I use witch hazel is to actually, oil and water don't mix, and so the witch hazel just helps to disperse the oil through the water. So probably about 20 drops of oil in the 100 ml spray bottle with about a tablespoon of witch hazel. And then I also add some lavender, some thieves, some peppermint. I usually just play around, but the bulk of the oil is the Purification. Purification's a great blend. It contains citronella, tea tree, lemongrass. It's a really amazing, and the reason why it's called Purification is because it's great for purifying the air. So when you go to hotel rooms and they're a bit stinky, put it in your diffuser. Or if you washed your towels or your kids' clothes and you left them in the washing machine for a few days and they're a bit stinky, run them again with a few drops of Purification. It just helps with that. The next way to use oils, I mentioned briefly before, is in flavouring. So actually adding them to your food. So a drop of lemon here, a drop of orange, lime is great in guacamole, nutmeg in your custard or your shakes. I even use oregano and thyme, and it actually saves money because our oils don't have a use-by date. If you look after them, they'll last you forever. So they're constantly in my kitchen. I'm not having to worry about buying a bunch of coriander and it going wilting in the fridge because I didn't use it all, or a whole stack of lemongrass. I've already got those oils on hand, and I just add them to my stir fries or to my pasta sauce or whatever. Always err on the side of caution, particularly with oils like oregano and thyme when you're cooking with them. I tend to get a toothpick or a skewer, and I literally put that into the oil and then stir that through the sauce, because there's nothing worse than putting a whole drop of oregano in your sauce and then you just can't eat it because it's just way so potent and strong that you will overdo it and then you can't eat the sauce. So start slowly with, by doing the toothpick thing. Even if you do the toothpick thing 2 or 3 times, or the other way that you can do it is to drop it onto a spoon and wipe part of it off and stir the spoon through. That way you'll get, less is more. And particularly with cooking, always add them at the end because they flash off. So they literally will, dissolve's not exactly the right word, but the flavour will be more intense if you add them at the end of the recipe. So let's have a look at some of the, at the beginning of the book we've got the essential oil singles. Down the bottom is a really good key for how to use the oils. So the ones with the sun are what we call photosensitive. They're the ones you put where the sun doesn't shine, okay? Or if you put them somewhere else, you don't go out in the sun within 12 hours. So I don't know whether any of you ever put lemon juice on your hair. Well, putting lemon oil on your skin has very much the same effect. So if you are going to put some of the citrus oils that are photosensitive on your skin, you need to put them either where the sun doesn't shine, don't go out in the sun within 12 hours, or put them in something like I put orange oil in my moisturiser, but because I'm putting only a few drops in about 50 grams of moisturiser and I'm evenly putting it over my skin, I'm not having the photosensitive reaction. But there'd be nothing worse than having some pigmentation on your beautiful skin because you put, a drop of lemon oil or a drop of orange oil or something like that. The next little thing on the key is a little drop, and that means you can use it for topical use, so apply directly to the skin. Dilution may be required, and always see the label for use. It will tell you if you need to dilute it. And what we usually do is we dilute it in something like Young Living has an amazing oil called V6, which is a carrier oil. It's actually, even though it's called V6, it's actually got 7 different carrier oils in it. It's a great way to, start doing massage and adding the oils in. One of my favourite ways to use oils topically is to actually put in coconut oil, particularly during the winter months. I make my own chest rub, and the chest rub is 50 grams of coconut oil with 12 drops of peppermint, 12 drops of lemon, and 12 drops of amazing oil called RC. RC has something like 4 different eucalyptuses. It has myrtle. It has all of those really great oils that in Australia we know that they're really amazing. So I, literally just put them in 50 grams of coconut oil, and over the winter months your coconut oil hardens, so it's just like, using it as a chest rub. I just get a little bit out, I put it on my girl's chest, I put it on the bottoms of my feet like Nana used to do and put the socks on when I go to bed. I put RC in the diffuser. My diffuser over the winter months has this in it probably 90% of the time. It's a great oil for winter. So that's RC, as I said, with the eucalyptus and the myrtle in it. The next little picture is dilute. So as I said, you've got to make sure that you follow the instructions around diluting. Aromatically is where you can inhale it or use a diffuser. And the little spoon and fork is those oils that you can use for flavouring. So if you want to know how to use an oil, not only do you read the label, but you can also flick through the book and it'll tell you how to use the oils. There's a few recipes in our catalogue, like there's a DIY linen spray. We then get to the blends. So some of the blends I've already talked about. So I've so far talked about Purification and RC. There's 3 other blends that come in our premium starter kit. One is Thieves. I absolutely love Thieves. It's probably my favourite oil. My house always smells like Thieves. It smells like chai. Because it's got cinnamon, clove, eucalyptus, rosemary and lemon. The story behind Thieves was that some guys in the time of the plague used to rub themselves with their spices, and they basically used to travel around and and yeah, they had, you know, huge health benefits from their herbs and spices. So that recipe, you can Google it. It's called the Four Thieves vinegar, and that Four Thieves vinegar recipe was what Gary Young used to create the Thieves. Now, obviously, back in those times, you know, Australia wasn't found, so it didn't contain eucalyptus, it contained other oils. But because, you know, we know now the huge health benefits of eucalyptus, that's why it's added to the blend of Thieves. Thieves is like our signature oil, if you like. Many other companies have, you know, tried to copy Thieves and to make their own version. Ours has been turned into a whole range of different cleaning products, some of which I've got on me today. So one is the hand purifier. You literally just take a drop of the hand purifier and, you know, rub it on. What I was seeing a whole heap of mums at playgroup, and, you know, when I'd be out places, and they would use these hand sanitizers that contain triclosan and all these, you know, terrible, nasty chemicals, and they'd put it on their kids' hands, and then they'd give them a sandwich to eat. And what do you think was happening from those chemicals that were in their hand sanitizers? They were transferring to the food that the kids were eating, or the kids would lick their hands after having the hand sanitizer. So a great natural alternative that doesn't have the nasty chemicals that those, like triclosan and things like that, is to actually use the hand purifier that contains the Thieves oil. What I love about it is I also keep it in my handbag, so that if I need to, you know, I haven't put my deodorant on today, or, you know, it's a particularly smelly day or whatever, I actually use a little bit of this. I know that sounds bizarre, but all of the Thieves products I use for so many other purposes, and so that's one of them, is the hand purifier. The next one is the Thieves spray. This is great, even if you haven't got the purifier, for spraying on your hands. So if you've been out somewhere, touched some hand railings, it's great for spraying on the trolley when you're taking baby or your toddler or whatever. Even if you're just going out and using the trolley at the supermarket, just spray down the handles. It's great for spraying, like if you share a workstation somewhere, spraying your keyboard, spraying your phone, any of those kinds of things. It's great for all of that. I even used to spray it on the bottom of the girls' feet before they'd go to playgroup, and then preschool, and then put their socks on over the top. So that's Thieves. The next blend that comes in the kit is Digest. Oh my God, it's like the best friend when you're traveling. You know, at the moment, as I said, we're in Kuala Lumpur, where there's heaps of curries and all that kind of stuff. I can't live without Digest. It's a really, really great oil. Great for massaging on your tummy, and, you know, to make it go a bit further, it's always good to add it to a carrier oil. The last blend that I want to talk about is Panaway. Panaway, I always say that it smells like men's locker rooms, and people say, how do you know what a men's locker room smells like? Although one lady said to me, what, like smelly feet and underwear? And I said, no, it smells like those stuff that guys use after football matches and things like that. So what I've actually done is I've popped on the top of this one of our roller fitments. It's another really great thing that Young Living sells. Oh, I'm not showing this very well as far as how to get it out. You literally just push it, I've got it now, push it to the side. So in order to use the roller fitments, if you want to be able to roll the oil on, you take the little plastic dripper that I showed you before, you take that out of the bottle, and you literally just sit the roller in the top. You don't have to press hard or anything like that to pop it in, and you just do up the lid, and then it's in. And then you just roll it on. So with Panaway, you know, I might roll a bit on the back of my neck, a little bit on my ankle, on my knee. I can't put my pants up far enough to show you, on my knee. And it's really, really great for that kind of thing. And as I just showed you before, if you want to swap the roller over, I've always usually got the roller on my Stress Away. I carry Stress Away in my pocket when we go out, just in case one of the girls has a meltdown, or most of the time mummy needs it, so mummy doesn't have a meltdown. I literally wear it as a perfume. So I put the roller on the top and just roll it on my wrists and roll it behind my ears. Particularly if your kids don't like the oils, or you're trying to get them used to using the oils, put them on yourself, and it's a great way for them to gradually get used to the oils, and then over time they'll be like mine, and they're like totally oily babies, and they're like, Mom, put some oil on me, I want my Stress Away, I want this, I want that, and so I'm putting the oils on the girls. Anyway, so that's the whole section on blends. The next section is about roll-ons. So we actually have some bottles that are already made up as roll-ons. We've got some massage oils, collections of oils that you can buy, diffusers. There's a whole range, especially the kids' scents diffusers. There's a dinosaur and a dolphin one. Don't tell my kids, but the girls are getting the dolphin one for Christmas. They're going to be so excited. And then we've got the accessories, so the roller, the Aroma Glide fitments, cases and bags for you to put your oils in. Some other things that come in the kit, we've got some little sample bottles that you get. So if you want to give oil away to your friends for them to try, or maybe you're going on holidays and you don't want to take a whole bottle of lavender oil, you can literally put a few drops into the little samples that you get. You also get some other little samples. So these are another great way to share the oils with people. Someone says, oh, I love the way you smell, or maybe one of the samples that you get in the premium starter kit is called Peace and Calming. I carry heaps of Peace and Calming around, and then when I go to playgroup and someone says to me, oh, I don't know why your girls are so calm, and you know, well, A, it's because of the food that they eat, but secondly, it's because of the oils, and one of the great oils that I use is Peace and Calming, and that's a little sample of peppermint. So say you want to give someone some peppermint to try, those little samples are a great way to do it. The next section of the book contains the Thieves. So I've touched briefly on the Thieves. My favourite Thieves product is actually the household cleaner. Because you're only ever using 10 mils of the household cleaner at one time, they've actually got a cap on the bottle already measured out to 10 mils. So you literally fill up the cap with the 10 mils, you pour it into your spray bottle, and you fill it up with 300 mils of water. That is cheaper. Like, it works out at 87 cents per 300 mils. I mean, you can't buy household cleaners to spray your benches and your showers and all of that kind of stuff for 87 cents for 300 mils in the supermarket. Best of all, this stuff, you know, I get my girls to help with the cleaning. They're the ones who are spraying the shower, and, you know, I say, oh, go and clean the windows for mummy. And best, you know, we're not filling up my kitchen and laundry cupboards with a million different cleaners. I've literally got one cleaner, and that's it. I use it for everything. I even use it in my dishwasher. If I've run out of the laundry detergent, I'll throw a capful in there. I've cleaned the car with it. I've cleaned the dog with it. Oh, I don't have a dog, but I've cleaned someone else's dog. You know, it's just such an amazing all-round all-purpose cleaner. They've even got some laundry soap. So, you know, my girls actually identify all of my friends' kids' clothes. Like, so the friends' kids come over for a play and they might have left a shirt or something there. I'll give it to the girls and I'll say, whose shirt is this? And they'll sniff it and they'll say, oh, that's Zoe's shirt, or that's Jessie and Jordan's shirt, or whatever. And it's because my girls' noses are so attuned to the smell of the chemical washing powder, because we don't use that they can identify that on other people's clothes. So the Thieves laundry soap, amazing. You know, it doesn't have all those toxins and you know, nasty fragrances that some of the other commercial laundry powders and soaps have. There's a dishwashing soap. You know, the Thieves range pretty well replaces all of your nasty chemical cleaning products. So if you don't know where to start with Young Living, one of the best ways you can get started is actually to buy the Thieves pack. You get the foaming hand soap, the toothpaste. Oh my God, the toothpaste. It makes your teeth feel so much cleaner than any other toothpaste I've ever used. And you know what? When I'm traveling, I actually use it as a deodorant. So most natural deodorants are made from coconut oil and bicarb. And what do you think deodorant's made from? Exactly the same ingredients. So like a pea-sized amount under your arms. And then my toiletry bag has more room for all the other lovely things that I want to put in there. And I'm not having to worry about having two products. Anyway, that's the Thieves range. We've got a Kids Sense range, so, you know, let's get rid of those nasty bubble baths that actually lead to, you know, nasty things happening to those areas down there by using something all natural, which is a bath gel. There's a kids toothpaste, which is quite sweet. My girls really love using it. A shampoo, tender tush, you know. One of the worst things that I see is mothers using what they think is a natural paw cream as a nappy rash, but it's actually full of petrochemicals. So let's look at something more natural, and the tender tush is really great. And after the babies grow up, if you've got some left in the bottle, put it on your own skin. It's amazing, especially for us who, as I say, don't want to look their age. We've got a whole range around Ninja Red. Ninja Red is, well, Young Living call it wolfberries. Basically, it's a goji berry that's grown in the Ninja province up above the Yellow River in China, and huge antioxidant value. So I pretty well, you know, I believe in getting nutrients and vitamins from real food, not from, you know, chemical tablets and you know, all these magic powders that people are now taking. this isn't, even though sometimes I accidentally refer to it as a juice, it actually isn't a juice, it's a puree. And that's why you can see the sediment floating in the bottom of the bottle. So you've got to shake it up before you actually drink it, because they don't juice the fruits, it's the whole fruits that go into it. It's actually the puree. So you're getting the fruit like nature intended, whereas when you juice things, you actually get the sugars, but you're not getting the fibre that the body needs. So that's an infrared. I give it to the girls every morning as their you know, pick me up, I guess, and it's like a little special treat. They love these little sachets. I carry these sachets in my handbag. As a really busy working mum, I get to 3 o'clock in the afternoon and I'm really flat. And it's like, oh, I need a coffee or a chocolate or something like that. I'll grab one of these out of my handbag, literally just tear off the top, down the tube. They taste heaps better in the fridge. So when you get these, just pop them in the fridge. I do drink them, as I say, straight out of my handbag when I need. But when you're new to drinking it, I suggest you pop it in your fridge. They're great as ice blocks in summer. So I'll actually, as a treat for the girls, I'll freeze these. And I just cut off the whole top and then they push them up and they make great ice blocks for kids. So that's the Ninja Red. Then on the next page they have a Sleek range. So for those women wanting to fit into their summer cozies, trying the Sleek range is you know, a really great option. There's a tea and oil, some bars. We have a great shake called Balance Complete, which I usually have for either breakfast, sometimes for lunch. The Wolfberry Crisp bars or the Sleek bars, I carry them in my handbag. So if I hate skipping lunch, so if I need to have something to tide me over, I'll grab one of those. Nutritional products, that's a whole workshop in itself, but we have an amazing range of products, including ones like Inner Defense, Longevity, and Digest and Cleanse, which are literally our oils. So the peppermint, caraway, they're the kinds of oils that are in the Digest and Cleanse. The Inner Defense is the Thieves oil I talked about, and some oregano and thyme. That's all that's in those. They're basically capsules of the oils, and they're already measured out for you to take. So Inner Defense is great over winter time. Longevity, once again, we all want to look our best for as long as possible. So longevity is a great oil in capsule. Omega Gies is a fish oil supplement. We've got sulfazyme, prostate health for the men that we care about in our life. Then we move on to skincare. Skincare is another, apart from the Thieves range of products, skincare is a really easy way to switch over to something natural. A lot of our skincare products that we buy are actually full of chemicals. And every time we are putting those chemicals on our skin, we're actually adding to our toxin load. What was really scary to me, particularly when my girls were so little, was that I heard that our kids are exposed to more chemicals in a year than our grandparents were in their whole life. And I literally went through my house and went, we're throwing this out, we're throwing that out, and I went crazy. And Justin was like, well, what are we actually going to wash the kid in? And I'm like, water and a face washer. So it's about trying to find simple ways that you can get rid of these harmful toxins out of your life, because it's not what you do once in a while that matters, it's what you do every day, and all of those chemicals accumulate over time. So an easy way to switch is to actually find a natural skincare. So the ART skincare system contains a cleanser, a toner, a moisturizer. There's a whole range of other products, lip glosses, masks. They do sell a deodorant, so you don't have to be as out there as me and use the toothpaste. Shower gels, soaps. They make great gifts if you want to help someone else to get up, to find a natural, toxin-free product. Some shampoos, conditioners. Not only do they sell the toothpaste, but they've got a mouthwash, because mouthwash is another thing that most commercial mouthwashes are full of chemicals that can actually cause problems in our mouths. So you want to try and find something natural like the Thieves mouthwash. Then we've got all the different ways that if you're a mum like me who wants to be able to spend more time with their kids, you don't want to be the mum who wasn't at the cross country, you want to be the mum who's at home when the kids come home from school. Who wants to work at home, who loves sharing what they do with other mums. I mean, how often do we say to people, you know, I saw this really great movie on TV, or I love your handbag, where did you get it? Well, that's what our business is about. It's about doing exactly what I've done today, share something that I'm passionate about and something that I love with my friends and family. And you can do it, best of all, right from the comfort of your own home. So if you've liked anything that I have said today and you're interested, the best way to get started is with one of our premium starter kits. So we have a premium starter kit with the home diffuser, a premium starter kit with the dewdrop diffuser or the aria diffuser, which is all 11 oils. So basically our premium starter kits are $249, but by the time you take off the $100 for the dewdrop diffuser, I haven't got that here today, but the dewdrop diffuser, it brings it down to $149. And if you divide that by the 11 oils in the kit, it's less than $14 a bottle of oil. You can't go to the health food shop and buy good quality oils. These are the Rolls Royce of oils. This kit is such an amazing value. And best of all, you actually get a wholesale account, so it saves you 24% off all of your future purchases. So if you want to get started with one of the premium starter kits, like a Thieves kit or a Ninja Red kit, maybe you want to buy the oils to start with, and then in your following month, you're going to save that 24% off all those cleaning products, or you want to swap your skincare, whatever you want to do, there's a huge saving. So there's the Thieves kit and the Ninja Red kit. But basically, you need to get back in contact with the person who told you about this video and talk to them about, you know, what they think is the best way for you to get started, because there's a huge range of products, and we have an amazing special at the moment where if you purchase 300 PV worth of products, you actually get this whole kit of oils for free. And I know PV is really hard to understand, but it's a point system. So talk to the person who told you about this video and they'll be able to talk you through exactly what you might be able to order to get all of these for free. Plus, every month the company has great incentives and gives great free stuff away. So get started today. Young Living, it's an amazing opportunity, an amazing company, and I know you'll love it as much as I do. Thank you.